My wife said, "Just meeting a friend." I asked one question she never answered. The message arrived while I was rinsing a glass. "Just meeting a friend, back soon." Nothing else. No name, no emoji, no unnecessary reassurance. The water kept running. I didn't turn it off right away. I read the sentence again, slower this time, as if pacing might change its meaning. A friend. I pictured the word the way it was meant to be received. Harmless, casual, disposable. The kind of word you use when you don't want questions. My phone buzzed again. Not a message. A read receipt. She was watching. I typed a reply, deleted it, typed again, then settled on one sentence. Did his wife like the coffee place too? I stared at the screen, sent it. The typing indicator appeared almost instantly. 3 dots. Gone. Reappeared. Gone again. Minutes passed. The kitchen grew quiet. The refrigerator clicked softly like it was counting seconds with me. My glass overflowed and spilled onto the counter, water pooling at my wrist. Still nothing. No reply. No correction. No denial. I dried my hands slowly, deliberately. My heartbeat stayed calm. That surprised me. I had expected something sharper, anger maybe, panic. Instead, there was clarity. She hadn't said what friend, because names create gravity, and gravity pulls lies apart. I locked my phone and set it face down on the counter. Some questions don't need answers. The silence already had one. She came home late, later than usual, later than reasonable. I didn't look up when I heard the door. Keys placed carefully, shoes removed quietly, the choreography of someone hoping not to be noticed. "Hey," she said, normal tone, casual, almost cheerful. I answered without turning. "Hey." She hovered behind me for a moment too long, waiting, measuring, deciding whether to volunteer information or let the silence swallow it. Eventually, she chose silence. That choice mattered. We sat across from each other at dinner, the table feeling wider than it had ever been. She talked about traffic, about how crowded the cafe was, about a story she'd heard at work. I nodded in the right places, chewed slowly, listened. I didn't mention the text. I didn't mention the dots. I didn't mention the absence of an answer. Her eyes kept flicking to my phone on the counter like it might accuse her on its own. I told myself not to overreact. That's the lie people like me tell themselves. Be rational, as if rationality ever stopped betrayal, as if deception announces itself with proof instead of patterns. I noticed things I hadn't wanted to notice before. How she'd started guarding her phone like it was fragile, how she angled the screen away from me, how her laughter had changed, shorter, sharper, more private. There was a new lightness to her steps, the kind that doesn't come from happiness at home. Romance doesn't disappear, it migrates. I felt the shift weeks ago, the absence during touches that used to be instinctive, the way her body seemed elsewhere even when she was physically present. I had mistaken distance for stress. I won't make that mistake again. That night, she turned her back to me in bed, a familiar ritual now. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying the text in my mind. Just meeting a friend. No one hides friends. They hide options. Not because I was afraid, but because fear makes people sloppy. I stayed calm, predictable, the version of myself she expected, attentive, trusting, safe. Internally, I became precise. I watched her patterns the way a chess player watches the board, not the pieces. Patterns reveal intent. Excuses repeat. Lies get lazy. She started dressing differently on certain days. Not better, strategically. Effortless enough to look accidental, careful enough to feel intentional. Her phone habits shifted. Messages cleared more frequently. Notifications silenced at night. Calls taken outside. I requested the phone records under the pretense of disputing a billing error. She didn't question it. That told me more than resistance ever would. I memorized the numbers. One appeared again and again. Morning, afternoon, night, weekends too. I searched it. Married, 2 kids, public-facing career, the kind of man who hides best because no one expects him to. Of course, they always hide behind respectability. I didn't imagine them together, not yet. Visualization invites emotion, and emotion clouds judgment. Instead, I imagined timelines, overlaps, moments she'd been absent while claiming exhaustion. I ran a quiet experiment. I stopped initiating contact entirely. No texts, no calls, no affection. She didn't ask why. She didn't notice. That hurt more than betrayal ever could. Silence reveals priorities. People chase what matters. She didn't chase me. At night, she slept peacefully. I didn't. I stared into the dark, not angry, curious. I wanted to understand the exact moment I stopped being enough, not for closure, for accuracy, because endings are easier when you understand their beginning. The evidence arrived quietly, a forwarded email, a confirmation, a detail she couldn't erase. I printed everything. Paper feels heavier than screens, more final. She was pouring coffee when I set the stack on the table between us. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. She looked down. Her face changed, not in panic, not in anger, but in recognition, like someone realizing a door they thought was locked had been open the whole time. Her breathing slowed, then stuttered. She didn't ask how I knew. That's how I knew it was true. "Is there anything you want to tell me?" I asked. My voice was calm, neutral, almost gentle. Her mouth opened, closed. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said finally. I nodded. Meaning is irrelevant once choice is made. I slid the last page forward, a screenshot, a timestamp, the coffee shop receipt. She stared at it like it might disappear if she didn't blink. "You didn't answer my question," I said softly. Her eyes lifted to mine. "Which one?" "The one about his wife." That did it. Her composure cracked, not shattered, just fractured. Tears formed, but slowly, controlled, calculated. I watched without reaction. She reached for my hand. I moved mine away. The space between us felt intentional now, defined. Truth doesn't shout. It sits quietly and waits for you to notice. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I didn't insult her. I told her exactly what I knew and when I knew it. I told her about the records, the patterns, the experiment with silence. I told her I had already spoken to his wife. That was the moment everything collapsed. Not because of guilt, because secrecy had been her power, and I had taken it. Her affair didn't survive daylight. His wife didn't scream. She documented, methodically, ruthlessly. Men like him panic when exposure threatens the image they protect. He disappeared, blocked, deleted, gone. My wife sat across from me stunned, not heartbroken, but unmoored, like someone realizing the safety net they relied on had been imaginary. "Can we fix this?" she asked. I answered honestly, no. She looked confused, not devastated, confused, as if love were a negotiation she had miscalculated. "Why didn't you stop me sooner?" she asked. I leaned back, because I needed to know who you were when you thought you weren't being watched. She didn't cry after that. She shrank. I packed that night, calmly, efficiently, took only what mattered. At the door, she reached for me again. This time, I didn't hesitate. I stepped away. She whispered my name like it was an apology trying to be forgiven retroactively. I didn't answer. Some silences are verdicts. I don't miss her. I miss the certainty I had before understanding how quietly people replace you. Loss sharpens perception. It teaches restraint. It teaches accuracy. She messages sometimes, long explanations, short regrets, Different versions of the same plea. I don't reply. Closure isn't a conversation, it's comprehension. When she said, just meeting a friend, she wasn't lying about the meeting, she was lying about the meaning. And when I asked about his wife, her silence wasn't confusion, it was exposure. I didn't destroy her life, I removed myself from it. That distinction matters. I didn't beg, I didn't threaten, I didn't compete, I observed. And when the truth revealed itself, I walked away intact. The last thing she ever said to me was quiet, almost embarrassed. I didn't think you'd let go so easily. I didn't correct her. Letting go wasn't easy. It was precise. And when I closed the door behind me, it didn't feel like loss. It felt like control, reclaimed.